Okay guys, in this class we are going to do some of the exercises that was not possible to be done in lesson number 4. So we are doing exercises from unit 2, okay? We are going to start with exercises from page 17. Exercise from 17 is about comparative and superlative, okay? Okay guys, here we have exercise number 4. Number 4 is related to superlative and comparative, or comparative and superlative forms, and also equality. So we have comparative of equality in this exercise too. So just for you to remember, so as I said, we have 3 different ways of comparing. We have the comparative form, we have the superlative form, and we have the equality form, right? So comparative form, we divide it in two different ways: the short and the long adjectives. The same works for superlative forms. We have the short and the long adjectives, okay? For the short adjectives, for comparative forms, we have to add er. For the short superlative forms, we have to add est. For the short comparative form of 2 or more adjectives, the long ones, we have to add more. And for the long superlative form, we have to add the most, okay? So if you don't remember, take a look at your book on page 17 and you will remember this. So take a look at this or watch the videos. Class number 4 explains a little bit about that too, okay? But here we are going to do the exercises from that page, right? So here, we have an example. Is a tall building safer than a low one in an earthquake? So here, 2 things that I know. I have to use er, this suffix er at the end. One is because I'm using the word then. After the blank space, I have the word then. And also because I'm comparing 2 objects, 2 things. When I'm comparing 2 elements, I always use comparative form. So here I have is a tall building, a construction that is high, is tall. I'm comparing with the small size one. So I'm comparing 2 things. That's why I'm using safer. It's the same as if I say more, right? But because it's a short adjective, I have to use er at the end. So number 1, the weather wasn't as blank space as it was last year. Here I have this equality comparison, right? As what I have to do, only to put the word good, the adjective good in the middle. I don't need to transform, to change its form, right? Number 2, the tsunami are then hurricanes. I have the word destructive. Destructive is a long word. What I have to do with long words, I have to use more or the most. I need to know if I'm using comparative form or superlative form. And then I have this word then, this word here, then help us to say that I have to use the comparative form. So, more destructive, okay? Number 3, the journey was than we thought. Again, I have the other word, this word here, than, right? And I have here a short adjective. How do I know it's a short adjective? It's because it's 1 syllable. I have to pronounce it to say the word, so in order to get the syllables, yeah? So this one is a short one. If it's a short one, it's er at end, so it's longer, the word, okay? Number 4, the survivor was 1-day-old baby. So here I'm comparing not two things, but I'm comparing one survivor, one person, right? So, and also I have here something that helps me is this article the. When I'm using superlative form, I use the and then the superlative with est. If it's a short one, is young. Here a short adjective, young, one syllable. That's why I say youngest, o mais jovem, the youngest survivor. In comparison to all of them, all the survivors, this baby was the youngest. All right. Number 5, were the landslides disaster ever in your country? Here I have the word bad, right? So bad is one of those irregular adjectives. Remember, we have regular and irregular adjectives. The regular form we have to write in a different way. So I'm comparing this landslide with all the disasters that happen in my country. So again, if I'm comparing one to the rest, is superlative form. So of course I have to say the worst. The worst because bad is an irregular adjective. Okay, take a look at the list of irregular adjectives so you can write in the correct form. Number 6, Felix and Leon are the same height. Okay, this structure here helped me to say that I'm comparing equal parts. Okay, so Felix is a person, Leon is a person, they are at the same height. There is one of them is not tall in comparison to the other, so they have the same height, the same altura, the same height. So here I'm using equality for comparison, right? So that's why this word tall here will be between the two words as, so they are as tall as each other. It means they have equal heights. They have equal. Now, we are going to talk a little bit about time expressions. We saw some of the time expressions there in lesson number 4. Please take a look. You also have it in your book, page number 17. We're going to do the exercise. This activity, we have some exercise here: as soon as, at, in, on, the next day, when, and while. We have to fit these words to complete the text. Right. So remember, some of them are easy to do because they have some fixed rules. The other one are sequence of time that will help us to have a better understanding of the text. Okay, let's get started. So in February 2011, I was working in the Christian Church, New Zealand. Then I have number 1 here, February 22. Okay, when I'm thinking about dates, remember dates, I have two possibilities. I can use in for months, right? Or I can use on for months with days or only days, right? What commands here, what will determine the preposition I'm going to use here is the day. Is this number here, number 22, which is the day, right? When I have a day in a sentence, I need to use the preposition on. If I didn't have day here, then in would be the preposition for February, okay? So let's keep going. I was in a meeting, and then I have here a time. When I use time, the preposition that I'm using for time is at, always at 12:51 p.m. We heard a loud noise. Number 3, I felt the building shaking. So sequence of events. So I heard a loud noisy, yes, an intense noisy, and then As soon as I felt the building shake, I knew it was an earthquake. So the moment I saw the movement of the building, I understood it was an earthquake. We sat under the table in an office, and luckily no one was seriously hurt. 1 month later, March 11. Again, I have here month, I have month, but I also have a day. When I have a day together with a month, my preposition is on. Sequence of events. I was working at home back in Tokyo. I felt it again. So 1 month later, on March 11, while during something was happening, while I was working at home back in Tokyo, I felt it again. The moment I was there, I felt it again. The apartment building started shaking, but it didn't collapse. I was worried about my wife who was working downtown. I heard she was okay and I relaxed a little. So the moment I heard she was okay, when I heard she was okay, I relaxed a little. Uh, Next one, number 7, March 12. So here, remember, we were talking about March 11 here. Here was March 11 here, right? And then now we are talking about March 12. It means the next day, right? The day after. So the next day, March 12, we helped clean up our neighborhood. It's amazing. I survived 2 earthquakes in 1 year. Okay, then we're done with this part. Next one. Okay, guys, now we are going to talk a little bit about our grammar exercises from Unit 2, of course. Now it's page 19. Remember, page 18, the one before, we have done in lesson number 4, okay? So lesson number 5, this lesson here, we'll talk about only exercise on page 19. Okay, Unit 2, here, again, grammar aspect. We are talking about exercise number 4. Write questions to complete the dialogue. Use the past continuous. Okay, we studied in the grammar 2 grammar aspects. One was simple past, right? It means finished action, an action that stopped in the past and it's followed by a specific time. And we also talk about past continuous. Past continuous, it's a continuous action. It's an action that was happening in a specific period of time in the past. Okay? And here specifically we're talking about questions and some exercises that will work on the past continuous. Okay? So let's get started. Then we have what you do last night at 9 p.m. And here we have what are you doing last night at 9 p.m. Remember, past continuous. What do I have to use in past continuous? I need one to be verb. I always need to use a verb to be. And this verb to be is connected to the subject, so I know that this to be has to be connected to this subject. Here is a questions. They are in opposite position, but I need to connect this you with were, plural were, right? And then what I have as an extra here is a second verb. This case I have do. This is the verb do plus ing. So I need to have to be and a second verb with ing. That's our past continuous, okay? All right, so let's keep going. So what were you doing last night at 9 p.m.? I was watching TV. And then Marta, what you watch? So remember, past continuous, I need verb to be. Remember, here I have you. So if I have you, I need to use a specific verb to be, right? So what were you watching? Okay, here is easy because watch is already with ing, so I don't need to do anything else. I was watching a soccer game. Very good. You watch the São Paulo game? So here is a question. I have you, easy one. So were you watching the São Paulo game? So remember, I have the word you, subject you. That's why I'm using were. If it was singular, I had to use something different, like we are going to see next. No, I wasn't. I was, take a look. I was watching. Yes, I was watching. Why did I use was here? Because the subject is I. So take a look at class lesson number 4. We studied this before. Yes, I was watching Italian soccer. So Marta responds, you sit near your phone. So again, I have the word you, and here I have the verb sit. So I need to change this verb with ing. So what do I have to do? Were you sitting near your phone? So remember here the rule, CVC rule, consonant, vowel, consonant. I double this last T and add ing. So were you sitting near your phone? No, I wasn't. Why? What you do? Okay, so here I have number 4, what? I have the word you again, so I know I need to use the word were, and I need to transform this verb here for ing. So what were you doing? I was trying to call you. Okay, so here I will be using was to be and ing to complement this past continuous form. Okay, next one. All right, guys. And here I have exercise number 5 and 6. Circle the correct alternative. Here I need to understand what is going on in the sentence, what is happening in the sentence. So I need to know, is it a finished action, an action that stopped it in the past, or is an action that has a progress in the past, has a period of time in the past. So my mom didn't call or wasn't calling my grandmother last night. If I have this word here, last night, it sounds like in the sentence, it sounds like it's a finished action. So probably then didn't call. So my mother didn't call my grandmother last night. Is an action that stopped in the past. While I talked or I was talking with my teacher, Leah arrived or was arriving. So something was happening when something else happened, right? So here in this case, I have two situations. While, during my talk, so the moment, that period of time that I was talking with my teacher, somebody interrupt my talk. So something happened that stopped my talk, arrived. Very good. Number 3, after we heard or were hearing about the storm, we called or calling my parents. So after we something happened, yes, after we heard, yes, about the storm. So after somebody or us, we heard about this story, something happened. So in this situation, I have two simple pasts. I don't have a continuous progressive action in the past. Number 4, did you visit or were you visiting your sister at this time last week, sorry. Okay, so here, were you visiting your sister at this period of time last week? So there is a period that is happening in the past that helped us to answer the question. Did you visit your sister or no? Were you visit would be more suitable for this one. My dad drove or was driving to work when he when he felt or was feeling the earthquake. So he was doing something when he felt about it. So was driving and then felt. So he was driving, an action happening in the past, in a specific period of time, and then something happened in the middle of that action. That's why I'm using the word felt to represent that period, that moment in the past. Number 6, where were you? Where were you? Where were you? I chatted I was chatting online with my friends in my room. So somebody asked the question, where were you? And then I answered the question, I was doing something. It was a period that was doing something, an action in a specific period of time. So I was chatting in that time. Okay, I hope it was clear. Again, go back to the grammar unit. If you are not sure about it, check it, answer the questions by yourself. Use the workbook too to answer these questions to help you to understand a bit more. Okay, number 6, complete the sentence with the correct form of the verbs in parentheses. So use the simple past or the past continuous. Again, we have to use both simple past and past continuous. Number 1, there was an earthquake last night. No way, So it's an finished action in the past. The person did not notice that something happened, so didn't note. Here, guys, remember when I'm using the simple past, my auxiliary verb for the negative form is did. So I connect it with the word not. I can do a short form, didn't in this case, or I can use a long form, did not, yes, separated. But the only thing that I cannot do is to add d or ed at the end of the verb, because I've already said that did not is my past, okay? So I didn't note. I cannot say I didn't notice, so it would be incorrect. Okay, number 2, the news when you called. So when you called, the moment you called, some action was happening in that moment. So past continuous. I was watching the news. Very good. Number 3, while we attest, the fire alarm rang. While something was happening during this time. So while we were taking a test, the fire alarm rang. Number 4, I were where I was going when I the street. So something happened where I was going when I the street. I wasn't looking where I was going. So I wasn't doing something that specific period of time where I was going when I crossed the street. Very good. And number 5, Oscar, his hand while he and Lucia dinner. So they were, Oscar was doing something, or better, Oscar did something with his hand while he and Lucia were doing something. So cut his hand while they were preparing dinner. Okay? Okay, guys, here is the end of Unit 2. I thank you for watching that one. If you have any question, please let me know through our Google Classroom platform. So remember, any question you have, please send me a message. Okay? Okie dokie. Have fun. Take care. Bye.